after a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for the whole market, but especially the Awaken America stocks, I think we need to circle back to the cloud-based software plays that can thrive even in the most difficult of economies. Stocks like Adobe, the digital media and marketing titan that we've liked for ages around here, actually since 50. This thing's been a juggernaut since it bottomed in March, even as it pulled back slightly today. But after the close, Adobe gave us exactly what we need, results. The company reported a pretty solid quarter, delivering a 13-cent earnings beat off of a $2.32 basis, even as its sales came in a tad light, up 14% year over year, and their outlook for next quarter was a little weaker than expected. Still, you want a company that can grow at a 14% clip during the worst quarter in living memory. And that's why the stock roared in after-hours trading. I think it's got a lot more upside. Don't take it from me. Let's dig deeper with Shantanu Narayen. He is the chairman and CEO of Adobe to get a clearer picture of how his company's holding up. Mr. Narayen, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thanks for having me, Jim, and welcome to my house.
Oh, I love it. It's very, you got a great, nice white look going there. And I'll tell you something, you got a great set of numbers. And I want you to talk to people about how when people hunker down and they go inside and they don't work at the office, they go to Adobe to be creative.
Well, Jim, I think you've always talked about the diversity of our portfolio and how robust it is and how digital is only going to be a tailwind as it relates to companies who are able, whether it's helping individuals be more creative, whether it's helping businesses automate their inefficient paper-based processes, as well as powering digital businesses through commerce. And so, when we look at our quarter, we had an extremely strong quarter. The digital media net new ARR was a record for a Q2, and as you pointed out, among the worst macroeconomic situations of all time. And it just reflected how people have a story to tell. They needed to be creative. Certainly the working from home and shelter in place probably served as a catalyst for people wanting the best tools to be creative and productive. And at the other end of the spectrum, the conversation around digital at every enterprise, because if you are unable to engage with your customers through physical means, digital is the only way in which you can do it. And so if you don't have the right website, if you don't have a commerce, you're just not going to be able to transact. And so, we're fortunate. And I have to say that our employees, the way they rallied and aligned around working from home and maintaining their productivity, just makes me incredibly proud of what we were able to accomplish.
Now, Shantanu, do we have to worry as a country about the demand from small and mid-sized businesses waning? Because we know they hire people, and we know that they've been hurt by this pandemic.
Jim, I think you've always spoken about how fundamental small and medium businesses are to this economy, and I agree with you. While we're fortunate in that we have such a broad spectrum of customers, from somebody who's a K through 12 student to the largest enterprise in the world, there's no question that small and medium businesses are in many ways the lifeblood of our economy, and having them have the ability to open back up and get back to business is going to be important. We're lucky in that we're probably more resilient than most. But our hearts go out to them. And I think it's really important that we all think about how we can get them productive and how we can help them, with whatever financial issues they might have in the short run.
And I know you will do that. It's funny. You put out a statement last night about listening, learning, and taking action. In other words, it's not enough to listen with you. And I've never met Gloria Chen. I sure hope to do so when I get out there. But before you go into that, I have always said to people that you've got to listen to this guy, Shantanu Narayen. What he's done is he's given millions of kids, regardless of their background, the ability to be able to show the creative side. You're listening, you're talking, but 30 million students at home with the Creative Cloud is showing to me that you're doing.
Well, I've always said, Jim, that I feel so incredibly fortunate to have got the opportunities that I have. And I think it was the emphasis, placed on me as I was growing up by my parents about reading, writing, and arithmetic. Today, if somebody doesn't have access to digital literacy, you're going to be disadvantaged for the rest of your lives. And so whatever you can do to enable everybody to have access to digital literacy, to be able to tell that story, to be able to share their ideas, to be able to collaborate, I think it's incumbent on every one of us, and especially leaders like Adobe in this space, to make sure that we do our part to help that next generation of education that happens. And it's going to happen increasingly, as you point out, through distance learning.
The next generation tells me, and I get it from my daughter, she said, you got to tell Shantanu, it is impossible to be a responsible person in their 20s looking for a job without being good at Illustrator, Photoshop, and Lightroom. That those are three things that you must be fluent in to get a creative job in our country.
Well, we appreciate that. And as your daughter points out, I mean, images and artwork and illustration is actually what drives the economy. And what's been particularly gratifying is how during this time, people have actually taken to creativity as a form of self-expression. They've taken it as a way of coping with what needs to happen. Jim, we did this online training, which allowed people through a product that we also have called Adobe Fresco to participate with one of the greatest artists that we have within the company. And it's sort of a draw along. And the amount of energy that people have contributed to creating, when we did our Honor Heroes campaign, to honor those who put their lives at stake and were on the front lines. We said, let's create a creative campaign to honor those heroes. And the amount of submissions that come in from everywhere around the world because they recognize what these folks are doing, it just, that's the emotional connection that not only are we able to have with our customers, but that's what creative does for us as a world and as a society.
Well, what you do impacts people instantly, whether it be what you just mentioned, or you put out an app that my daughter was using this morning. Whenever time it came out, the camera app. She said, Dad, it's an app. I said, did you buy this feature? She goes, Dad, no, it's an app, but everybody's using it. I'm like, I don't know how you have the zeitgeist that you could have something that everybody's using. What did it come out about 8 hours ago?
Well, Photoshop camera that you're referring to, Jim, this is where everybody has always known the power of Photoshop. And we've like, why not bring that into the device that everybody's using to take all those pictures, which is a mobile device. And so whether you're on Android or whether you're on iOS, bringing that power, it's also a new form of app that we've come up with, which is two real particularly distinguishing features. The first is the amount of artificial intelligence in that application that enables you, to automatically take better pictures, something that I know a lot of us will do. And second, for the community to participate with different kinds of lenses. And so expect to see some really cool lenses that are being contributed by the community that will actually enhance the value of that particular application.
Well, that's why, I mean, look, we could go over digital media, we could do the ARR, what the numbers is. What I'm talking about is the creative spirit you have is what's going to get your company through this when other companies just don't have the ability to be as creative as you are. Shantanu Narayen, thank you so much for coming on, Mad Buddy.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Adobe's the real deal. I've been telling you this, Shantanu, ever since he changed his model back to when it became a model that's a cloud business. It's been the right stock. If this gets hit, you know where to go. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @JimCramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Kramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.